On the table today at Squirrel Stampede, or should I say, may I take a wee bit of your time, as DreamWorks live action How to Train Your Dragon is finally here. Live action? So wait, what is the difference? For years, we have enjoyed very high quality animated How to Train Your Dragon, always rendered beautifully with the latest and computer aided technology animation. But even with that, it was always sometimes a little clunky. It was 15 years ago the original How to Train Your Dragon was on screen, and you can see it sometimes characters felt a little puppet-like. And overall, we were always very curious what a live-action feature would do to the world of dragons. And there it is, through the magic of new technology, a crisper and clearer live-action How to Train Your Dragon is here. Everything with vivid colors and high grasp detail, incredible acting, and handsomeness to propel this new franchise into the 22nd century. So for the next few weeks, we have a lot of dragons to ride on through the channel, test their abilities, see what they like to eat, how far they like to fly, can they do a barrel roll, all the dragon things. There is so much to look at. We've got a wide screen of all sorts of awesome items. Today we're going to focus mainly on Hiccup and Toothless and the Main Dragon riders with Astrid and Fishlegs too. Check them out. Check what the basic dragon assortment is gonna do. And then we can move on to other greats like the Titan Red Death and the Volcano Battle Pack, and just a wide assortment of new interesting releases of dragon items. So stick with the Squirrel Stampede as we go through another wild, awesome, fantastical collection of How to Train Your Dragon.
Squirrel Stampede!
Please like,
Share!
and Squirrel Live!
This is a How to Train Your Dragon live action Toothless and Hiccup with real feel dragon wings. Oh, is the nostalgia kicking up here on the channel? What is going on? Maybe we can help this out even more. Attempting here to get the old Squirrel Stampede screen going here. I think it's a little bit narrow. How did I used to do that? So it's our first look at a live action movie toy, Toothless and Hiccup, the general release pack. Toothless is obviously hogging all visual glory, with poor Hiccup way back here edged behind the real feel dragon wings. There he is. How's it going back there, new live action Hiccup? An actual human this time. So Spin Master is still in command of the dragon line after all these years. What do you know? They've always done pretty well, averaging out a collection to maybe be a B+. They've had some hits, they've had some misses, and I believe since the new How to Train Your Dragon live action is shot for shot of the original animated, you gotta stay on theme with Spin Master. From the back of the box though, live action Hiccup sure feels awkward sitting up on Toothless. Not much saddle space at all. Package design pretty good though. Continuing on classic with open box design, giving you a chance to acquaint yourself with the real feel. But you certainly want to browse through the shelves. Like this Gronkle package here, it had some damaged package grounding, but the wings were looking really good. The other Gronkle pack in store had a wing that was basically folded over and held tight, and it would have never came back. So use that opportunity of open packages to pick your best dragon. And for the most part, I think many of these are packaged pretty well safe. In fact, I ordered Stormfly off of Amazon, and that pack was completely covered in plastic, which was awesome. Got this nice Viking vibe though going through the package, a little water spray with Toothless flying out, looking good. Let's get our first new movie dragon out of pack. Oh, the nostalgia. That did not go to plan. Sorry, Hiccup. Let's hope these are ball joints. 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 I did not expect to be giving Hiccup his leg surgery so early on in review, but I think he's okay. Woo. And Toothless comes out of pack a little bit flat. Nothing more nostalgic than placing on a tail to a Night Fury. I like this lunging, it's very fitting to the dragon. But we better get a leg out to stand up. Just how do these legs go now? Kind of like that. And I might actually pull this blue screen now, as I'm having difficulty with the modern camera adjusting. I guess some things are left best in the past. And I think we got him standing. I like the extra length they've got in these legs. They give it a little more height and scale size. Always a little bit trouble in the past getting a good stand, depending on dragon. This one actually stood pretty well. This one here's got some scale to it. It's got some great scale. Curious, what do we have in standing height? About 3 1/4. Hiccup standing at about 3 inches. Of course, dragons are way more about length and wingspan, so I'm measuring about 13 inches from head to tail, and our wingspan may be about 10 to 12 inches. Kinda depends on how these real feels stretch out. Overall sculpt and design looking pretty clean. Always a little trickier with Night Furies as they are in darkness with shadow. Look at that head. That is an impressive head. It's those eyes, they feel printed versus painted. That may be their best work at making this feel like a real live action Toothless versus an animated Toothless. Of course, for live action, either way, he's gonna be animated. Or maybe not. Perhaps they found an actual Night Fury to star in this movie. His name is Gary, and he lives off an unnamed island near Nova Scotia. And what do we have for toothlessness? We've got the teeth retracted out. Spring locked here, a little bit of spring to it, and thankfully no projectile. That was so way overdone back in the day. It would often make the head look different and silly. So with no projectile gimmick giving Toothless a better head look. So this version of Toothless saddled up ready to flight with Hiccup, so a little bit later on in the movie verse. And we've got a tail with flight harness and flight support. I believe, and it's a little early on so I have not caught up with everything just yet, but there are smaller single pack dragons, like this rumble horn, and out there available too is a Toothless unharnessed. So far I've picked up the rumble horn and Skrill. I kind of passed on the Gronkle at the moment, but I'm sure I'll pick up, and then obviously there's your Toothless we gotta look for. And as for the real feel dragon wings, I think done before maybe 1 or 2 times. I've got this larger Toothless here classic just sitting in pack still, never unboxed. It just felt like a trophy piece, so I always left it in package. And that had these really nice real feel dragon wings. This one too, very Batman cowl-esque. It's got a really thick feel to it that gives it some sturdiness. It is locked in tight with these hinge joints and giving you the ability to kind of flap when you move your dragon up and down. You get this epic bat flight mode thing going with these. And I think it's one of my more favorite options for dragon wings. There has been some real doozy dragon wings over the years. Some of them very cool, others kind of malfunctioning, and some that I kind of have to iron out. So I'm all for this real feel. I think it's a good line, a good idea. Well, that's Toothless. How about Hiccup? Oh my. It's always a little harder to do a live action, small scale figure versus say like an animated character with very less detail. All of a sudden you have to be very concerned with real life proportions, face detailing, hair structure sitting, balance proportion on those feet, and higher detail paintwork while still trying to do it as cheap as possible. So who is this guy? Mason Thames, huh? They actually casted really well for this movie, I think. 16 years, known for the black phone, which I've never seen. I like that they can play some newcomers into this movie. Did they get his face right? I don't know, for scale, probably as close as you can get. It is such a challenge to do. They certainly captured some messy hair going on. And I like that he feels like identical in a way. In the dress to old school. Again, this is mostly shot for shot, we hear. Here's a more modern, updated, armored Hiccup. He kind of looks like and reminds me of Jim from The Office. So in some ways he feels a little spindlier, in other ways he feels more human. And for the moment, his leg is undamaged, not sure where they're gonna go with that. As for articulation, what did we see earlier here? Do we have head rotation? Head rotation, shoulders that move and probably hinge out, I believe. Yeah, oh, I'm a little wary of his construction. Elbows, no elbows there, no wrist, so it's just a one-arm thing, but they're angled in a way that kind of gives you a little bit of everything. Then we have torso rotation, none. I thought maybe, but there's a seam that is glued. Now we get back to these tragic ball jointed hips. They are going to pop off really easily. We do have knees that are on a joint, which really worries me. And that's about it. There's a hole here on his inner thigh to place up onto Toothless. I'm very wary of these knees. You're gonna have to be very careful not to bend and break the pin underneath. What's the old trick? A hair dryer to move those knees? Although they didn't have hair dryers back in these days. So let's sit them on up on top of Toothless here, see if we can do it. We've got a little bit of skirt here too that's gonna help pop these legs off over and over, I feel. I do like how they gave Toothless's saddle some heavy pointed pegs to pop into these legs. In the past, many a times, we have seen some very low profile pegs that have cost Hiccup a few different lives in barrel rolling. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm certainly getting some ball jointing troubles here. One of his legs may have detached from Hiccup's body, I can't tell. At least the legs are solidly attached. Now, both legs are onto that saddle, and we can do that blizzard test we have not done since Dairy Queen last month. And so here they are in flight. They're like, hey Astrid, Assy, check us out up here, look at us go. And oh my gosh, our first barrel roll is a success. Hiccup and Toothless are a dialed up team, and we've got safety harnesses a working and barrel rolls a go. The two look good in flight. Very animated, a good balance. And the scale looks better than it did on the back of the box too. But again, it's very possible that one of those hip joints has unpopped and Hiccup is in great medical pain. All in all, I think they've done well, and price point through the year hasn't really changed too much. This was at $15 versus maybe this would be $10 back in the day. And real quick comparisons, here's my 2010 original Toothless, the first Toothless that I picked up. Way before I even started reviewing How to Train Your Dragons, I picked this one up pretty much the first time I saw the movie in 2010. We may have reviewed after we had reviewed our very first Toothless on channel. This being the all-classic Riders of Berk Toothless with the catapult sheep option. Here is the sheep, and here is what we do. Get that sheep on that catapult, hold this down tightly, and maybe ratchet back for a little extra. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh! I gave that sheep a flingin'. I don't recall ever doing it that strong back in the day. Let's give it another go. Back on the tail there. I think I called it a spoon. And here we go for another launch. Oh my, across the room. Certainly one of the funnest. Of course, then there's the barrel roll Toothless incident, where I had spent much of the day getting my table, my cameras, and everything ready only to completely goof up the action feature. Wing out the flaps, rotate around. I think you charge prime him this way till he's nice and tight, get him locked in, and then press the button for some barrel roll wing action. Ah, that actually kicked up some wind. It felt good on my feverish head. Back in the day, I think, what did I do? It was great. I had spent all this time, and when I say all this time, it was like 3-minute videos back then. I would set him down on the table, and then I would press the button, something like this. And I was like, what's the deal with that guy? Can't remember if I corrected that in review or did another one. We've got a lot of Toothlesses over the years, and I may just do like this retro all collection type of thing soon. I have been pulling Hiccups and Toothlesses from everywhere off studio shelves, off of deep storage, and then what is this? We have really gone through it with Toothless and Hiccup over the years. Anyhow, let's check out Astrid and the Deadly Nader, or is that Natter, next. Awkward that I've gone through so many Dragons reviews, so many Stormfly reviews, and to this day I still have a tough time with, is it Deadly Nader or Deadly Natter? And I'll watch the movies over and over again and I will still forget in my head how to say it. I think it's Nader. No way, Hiccup would say Natter. I don't know, oh my. But we've got Deadly Natter and Astrid on table. Out of the big three for live action, I think this one might be the best one done. Look at those wings. Also real feel, but they're also real feel done over, so painted awesome. This print of scale work, blue and yellow here, and then the red transition onto the edges of the wings. It just pops this dragon so well. And Astrid being well more planned out than Hiccup, she is visually well seen on package here. Love the costuming they've done with the Movieverse characters, so she'll be fun to take on out. Keep doing that. Stormfly and Astrid on the table, looking good and stable. Actually stable for Stormfly. One of the challenges over the years is, can you get Stormfly to stand up without tipping? On the bipedal legs, it's always a challenge. The real feel wings on this one looking to stabilize her nice and steady on the table. I like the thickness too of the real feel. The rubbery thickness gives these a really higher quality than I'm typically used to with the Spin Master Dragons. It feels like a level up, And so painted well with her. Oh, these barbs on her, these spines are so tight and spiky. That back tail there, total Stormfly going there. And a little bit of a gray tannish underbelly there, more tan. Spikes and spines ever with this one, of course. Stormfly's head, like Toothless, looking really good. This one almost feeling Hammond collection like Jurassic World style. Like they've captured a little bit of Mattel's work in there with opening and closing mouth. Spring-loaded, non-projectile, high-detailed. And again, the bipedal challenge of a deadly nadir Stormfly. We've got legs that just rotate around, but she's standing steady. They're nice and flat. I like it when they give it a nice flat stance. That way when we get her down on the table, she's not going to roll over backwards. And she's standing steady. As for Astrid, looking good. I should add, many times in the past, these dragons would not always come packed with their rider. The dragons were often sold solo, especially for the non-Hiccup and Toothless combos. You'd have to look for other packs to get figures. It was always a challenge. So excellent that they've included the cast with each dragon. The Astrid figure certainly feels like a change up from what we saw with animated, but you know what? She's actually pretty close. Maybe it's just the hair color that throws the most, but she still has the skirt with the boots, the blue pants, maybe a little less on the fluffy shoulder paddage stuff. So who is the actress playing Astrid in this movie? Nico Parker? Another newcomer for me that I do not know much of. Although her figure expression, she kind of looks a little sad. Oh well. And like Hiccup, she probably has all the same features of articulation there with shoulders and a little bit of reach out there. If I could just get her knees to bend out. I actually can see the hinge work on her. I couldn't even verify if Hiccup had bendable knees, and she does, and they actually work. Once again, I like that each hip point has a post-peg whole thing combo going, so if one leg isn't working for you, the other leg will. Yeah, she fits almost better than Hiccup did on top of Toothless. That actually looks comfortable, even though if you stop short, you're going to get impaled by spines. I'm sure that's part of their training. But yeah, looking good, and I think she can withstand a barrel roll or loop-de-loop even. They'll make a good team up of Viking and Dragon. And so we've also seen our fair share of Gronkles and Fishlegs on the table. With, of course, Gronkle and Fishlegs. That's gotta be Meatlug. This one of the three kind of feels like the most radical change, with Toothless feeling almost identical to the past and Stormfly looking just more movie realistic, whereas the Gronkle here, what's going on with this one? And thankfully for Fishlegs here, with the short stumpy Gronkle wings, we can get Fishlegs all in view. All 5 stones worth of Fishlegs up front here. Always love the combo of these two. It's so epic. I don't know. We'll see how they look in the movie, but I almost feel like they could have gave the Gronkle a little more mass or Fishlegs a little bit less size. It does make for a funny combo in scale. When you have them all lined up together and having that mismatch of size is really quite funny. This Gronkle has a very bouncy head. Funny, much smaller, but certainly more mass than the other two. About 3 inches in height, but it's more about the length, which is only about 6.5 inches, and a pathetic 4-inch wingspan. She's cute, and we like her though. Kind of detailed with a bluish gray backside. Again, feeling almost very similar to a Hammond scale Jurassic World figure in some points. Speckled grayish tanned underbelly, Gronkles everywhere, roughed up, and spring-loaded real feel dragon wings, even though these are tiny. She reminds me of like something from Star Wars or Mandalorian or something. I'm not really catching where. I'm feeling like I've seen this one before. Grabbing onto my finger pretty good. Opening and closing jaw works well. I love this little bounce to the head. You can kind of see into the neck there region, but I don't know what's really bouncing her. And then we've got arms that kind of rotate front and back here. Just enough. Plenty of movement, honestly. Huge improvement over generations of Spin Master Dragons. Little worried I was about, is it time for a change up? But Spin Master delivered a pretty good series. As for the fish-legged figure, a very big dude. Oh, Julian Dennison. I've seen this guy around. Godzilla vs. Kong, anyone? He made for some good lines. I enjoyed this character, so that'll be a fun casting. I love the suit, the thickness of this suit on this figure. Is there going to be any articulation available? I guess so. We can reach those arms out. We can rotate head a little bit, even though hair on the back will kind of throw that. And are we going to be able to bend those legs out? Okay, yeah, they gave a little bit of extra help there in reaching out so we can sit down onto Meatlug. And once again, a little bit tight there in the knees, but we got him. So honestly, for scale though, pretty good. So can we get a good ride? This reminds me of the time Padme jumped off that post. The physics and all, and breaking your hips, landing onto a saddle. I don't know if I got his legs curled correctly. It looks epic. See if we can get these guys up high. So will these two team up well as figure and rider dragon? I think so. I think so. Look at them go. They're doing quite well. So there we go with the big 3 dragon riders. We've got a few others that we haven't really seen yet though. We'll check back in with Hook Fang the monstrous nightmare. Snotlout must be in the shadows there next time, as I want to give this pack a little more airtime. But I do not believe as of yet there is a single packed Hook Fang. And I've yet to hear nothing of my favorite Barf and Belch. I'm sorry I'm all out of corn pops for you, bud. You'll just have to make do with these Fruit Loops. Much to still talk about. Up next, the Titan Red Death. Look how huge she is. Back in the day, she was scaled to the other dragons. Now finally we get a Red Death figure that we've been looking for scale-wise. Also, the Ultimate Battle Pack and a ton more dragon stuff will flood the table soon, so stay tuned for those. If you like today's video, please give us a squike, a squirrel eye, a squam at your favorite most dragon. Thank you so much for watching. That's what I have to say about that. And don't forget to send Glitch some fan mail!